All right. Hey, hello, everybody. It's
Hey, John.
August 20th here, and we can open up. Hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? You cooking along over there? All right.
1 foot in front of the other.
1 foot in front of the other. Yeah, hopefully you're not melting right now. We're pretty warm out here in California.
Yeah, if it's not the temperature, it's the fires.
Yeah,
Are they close to you at all?
Not really down by us. We're in Southern California, down in Huntington Beach, so we're pretty much in the concrete jungle down here. But we know like several family members that live up in Santa Cruz area, and they're up on top of that mountain that's burning, and they've been evacuated. So not sure if they're going to have a place to go back to. They might be coming down here with us. So crazy stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it seems like every time we get nice weather out here in Southern California, the place turns on into an inferno, literally.
True. John, real quick.
Yeah.
I sent you an email. I need that geofencing link because my neighbor friend is really hot on it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I was going to respond back to you.
Yeah.
As far as the way that system goes, we don't have like official affiliate links because it's a totally different program. But what we typically do with that is we'll set up a meeting with the prospect to kind of do a presentation and see where they're at, and you get paid as the affiliate on it, but it's kind of outside of our normal system. It doesn't run through our normal billing system like for the for all the digital products and stuff.
So the guy who made that presentation, that's the link I wanted to get then. We did the presentation a couple of weeks ago, so I'm familiar with the overall. Now I need to get into the program to understand the nuts and bolts to work with my neighbor to get to the restaurants on Whittier. We have a Whittier downtown. On Greenleaf is an old town with nice big beautiful trees, and they're thinking about turning that into a promenade in the future. And like you said earlier, a year of customer database would help them get back on their feet again.
Yeah. That's one really powerful thing about that whole system is the ability to go backwards in time for up to a year and grab data. That's like really cool.
No, and he's like a business booster in that area, so he knows pretty much all the major establishments along that boulevard.
Yeah.
So please send me the link when you can. Thank you.
Okay, will do. But yeah, for anybody else, if you want if you've got a client or something that you want to refer to that, basically that's kind of the procedure with that. We set up an initial meeting to kind of present the product to them, establish a budget, see if they're ready to move forward. And then if they are, if everything looks good, it's almost like a pre-qualifying meeting. See, first of all, if they want it, if they qualify for it, if it's in their price range, all that kind of stuff. And then if it is, then we roll to the next section or the next step, which is basically an intake meeting. And that's where we've got our whole team online, and they're taking in, they're figuring out the copy for the ads, they're figuring out the placements. If there's also other, I don't know if we covered this or not, but we can also sort the data. Like let's say you geofence a stadium, and let's say it's a football game or something, or a trade show, for instance, and you only wanted females out of the trade show, but it's a mix of 50-50. We can actually filter that because the data is filterable. So it could be age groups. Like you might say, hey, I don't want anybody under the age of 40, and we can filter that. So there is that ability to also filter and refine that data. It brings the audience target size down a little bit, or in some cases a lot, but that's okay. It allows you to go after more targets, more areas, more, expand that range. So pretty cool stuff.
Do you have the pricing of all of that, John?
The pricing, it's based on auction bid pricing of the actual ad placements. So
I meant more in terms of, as part of my agency, I would want to obviously, if I were to integrate it, I want to be able to give pricing to clients of roughly how much they need to invest and stuff into to get it going.
Gotcha. We have a minimum, which I think we've got it way too low. I honestly think we've got it way too low, but our minimum pricing currently is $500 for the setup, and then $500 a month with a minimum 3 months. So it's like a $2,000 commitment is the minimum. So and it's based on, the commitment of that is based on the ad spend. So depending on, what niche you're in, it's almost identical to retargeting ad spend. So if you've got a retargeting audience where you've got a lot of competition, the cost per 1,000 views is going to be a little higher than in something that's, lower competition. But what we found as far as like the typical cost, and it's in a CPM basis, which is cost per 1,000 views. That's like your ad would show 1,000 times to count as one ad spend. And the ad spend on the CPM, or the cost per 1,000, that block of 1,000 views, it's only, like $10. On average, I've seen it as low as $5, which is pretty, it's not regular. It's not usually that low. And I've seen it up as high as maybe 30. But I would say on average CPM cost in there, it's 10, 12, $15 on pretty much average. That's what you can kind of expect. So that's kind of the rule of thumb on that, basically, if you're just quoting generically. But once we get into it, that's something that, like, when we have the intake call, we can get to the bottom of how big is the audience, what's the CPM costs, in that range. We can get a lot closer. And a lot of times the client will actually, greed works to our advantage here, because when they see the size of the audience, and if they're trying to stick to like a $500 a month ad spend, and they see that the audience size is twice that much, and they know it's highly valuable to reach that audience, a lot of times they'll bump up and they'll spend the extra money to acquire all of it. It's the whole greed factor, that greed or FOMO, or whatever you want to call it. Could be both. But that's kind of the short of it anyway. Any other questions?
Sorry, John, just to follow up one more time. Sorry
Sure.
for butting in. But and then on the we would have to upsell that, right? For our customers. So upsell setup and upsell the monthly spend.
On that, what we have a 10% margin set in there for you already, right out of the ad spend. So since it's very transparent, like the reporting is very transparent, where they see how much the ads actually cost, the ad budgeting has already been padded for you by 10%, which is pretty much an industry standard. So if you want, you can just let it ride like that and make the 10%. There's other ways that you can upcharge them. You can charge them up front more for the setup fees, things like that. But on the actual ad spend, it can get a little dicey if you start padding that, because they can actually see in the reports the cost of the ad spend.
You've taught us not to be greedy, so I think 10% is just fine. Yeah.
It's it's just, I hate to like have them see you padding stuff like that. Now you can pad it in other ways. Like you can say, hey, we're gonna charge you, X amount to manage all of your digital marketing. And that's one of the things. It's like a bonus. That's an included bonus for you. So there's a lot of ways that you can charge your clients to manage their campaigns and everything. but I wouldn't recommend padding the ad spend. That's not,
Maintenance fees.
no good will come of that one.
Hey, John.
Hey, Chris, how's it going? Haven't seen you for a while.
I know it's been pretty busy, but things are starting to come together. We got some really good projects on the pipe. And I just had a quick question on membership. On Kartra, I have a potential client who wants to have like a membership site where he has buyers and then investors, and actually product providers and then investors. And then he wants to be able to have people upload proof of funding and then proof of product. And then he can merge them together. Is that something that Kartra can do? Or basically, share documents, or we can.
It's not really set up for doc sharing and things like that.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a way you could potentially do that.
Like as the administrator to be able to share documents with specific members.
Yeah.
On their profile.
Yeah, you can set. Well, I was talking to somebody just the other day about how they could do a questionnaire, and then have the email go back and have the questionnaire answers in the email. And the way that you could do that is you can create custom fields. Like when you're creating your form, you can create a custom field. That custom field will attach that data to that customer record. And then you can dynamically pull any of the data fields into an email. But as far as like uploading, I don't think they've got the upload functionality in the membership area.
So you can't share a PDF document or the ability to show proof, or just basically you need all they need to do is be able to turn on or turn off access to a document that the administrator uploads.
You may be able to do that with like Google Docs. I've heard of people doing that kind of stuff with Google Docs. I'm not familiar with it enough myself to really kind of guide you through how to do it.
Yeah.
But I have heard that they can do that with Google Docs.
Yeah, they want to create a membership, sort of a tiered membership access to investors versus product providers.
Yeah, that's quite honestly, that's probably going to be more of a custom build membership site.
Okay, all right.
That's not the standard template stuff, like just sharing digital products with everybody. Yeah. That's a very customized thing. And also, because it's in the finance industry, there's going to be a level of compliance hoops that they're going to have to jump through to do that.
Got it. That's a good point.
And I'm pretty sure Kartra's not going to have that compliancy documentation for them.
Yeah. And then one other question about the affiliate system. Callie has a client who sells products on like Shopify, and he's interested in an affiliate marketing system, but is hesitant to release access to their system. And Callie's asking, can we set up a Kartra affiliate program by which she can show him how it works? And is it free to set up an affiliate system so that a customer can begin to access, I guess, content? Or
so with Kartra's affiliate system, it is, as far as I know, I haven't seen a way to do this for products outside of its own sphere. So it's the Kartra affiliate system is made to sell things through Kartra and track them.
Yes.
So like if you were on a Shopify site, the affiliate program in Kartra, I don't think would work for you. I don't see a way that it's going to do that.
Okay.
If that's what you're looking for, you need an affiliate program that is directly connected to the product shopping cart.
Yeah, I tried to explain that to her. I said you can't control or have access to their information. You just kind of have to trust that they're going to provide you transparency, but what you could do, I was thinking, is if you could set them up with their own Kartra account, then you could sell a product on their behalf and set up a subdomain or something like that under.
Yeah, you could do that. You could, as long as you set the product up in Kartra, you can sell it through there and monitor an affiliate program for sure.
But then from that standpoint, they'd be responsible for paying that. She just needs to enroll them into buying that.
Yeah. Now, as long as we're on the Kartra affiliate system, there is a flaw to it that we have found. And the flaw to it is this. It's a simple fix. I'm sure they'll get to it eventually. But for somebody like, let's say somebody signs up for your affiliate program and they're going to sell your products. And they also, when they sign up for your affiliate program, they actually create a free Kartra account with their email address. If they sign up for Kartra and they pay for Kartra and they cancel it, it kills that email, or it kills that Kartra account. So if they were using it for the free affiliate, it's now no longer active. You can't reactivate the free account for an affiliate after you've signed up for Kartra, which in my opinion, that's not right. You should be able to have an active or inactive Kartra account and still run the free affiliate program.
Yeah.
Because the affiliate program to sell other people's stuff has no bearing on whether you have a live active Kartra account or not.
Can you explain the free affiliate program that you just described a little bit?
Sure. Like I have the affiliate program set up for if somebody wants to sell my products. If you did not have a Kartra account, you don't need one. You don't need to pay for Kartra to become my affiliate. When you sign up for my affiliate account, it creates a Kartra account for you, a free one.
Yeah.
That's just meant for you to use as the affiliate program.
Right.
So you get your links, you can track your sales, you can see everything in there. But it's a full Kartra account. You just don't have access to all the other stuff in it.
Yeah.
The problem is if you activate it, let's say you do a 30-day trial. Say you do the $1 trial and you run it for 30 days and then you cancel it. You just killed the whole account, including all your affiliate stuff.
Oh, wow.
Which that's why I say that's a flaw on their part. I've pointed this out to them. They know about it, but it's really frustrating. It's super frustrating when I go to generate an affiliate link for somebody that has a canceled Kartra account and the affiliate links don't work. And I'm like, it just drives me crazy. Then we have to have them set up a whole nother Kartra account under a different email address. And I can't get them out of my system because they're part of the Kartra universe. So that part of it is really jumbled up right now.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So one of my clients, their credit card expired with Kartra and it's been about a month. Are they going to kill or delete their account? Or can I just
No, they will not delete the account. You can re-sign them back up. Just make sure you don't change the email address.
Yeah.
Make sure you reactivate the same account and it'll all go back to normal. Everything will be cool. So,
right. Yeah, they gave me a new credit card. So it's been about a month and a half.
Yeah, you should have no problem with that. You should be able to log back into your account, reactivate it, no problem.
This is their account, not mine.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay, let's see. Other questions here. Let me see here. Oh, Teresa says she's in the finance industry. So Chris, if you're interested, you can reach out to Teresa. She says she's got some contacts for people that can help you with, maybe the compliancy and the finance stuff. So we've got a few people actually in finance in the group. So
thanks, Teresa.
Hey, John.
Hey, Joe.
How's it going, man?
Awesome.
Listen, I just got a client. he's doing something with something called Google Guaranteed. Have you heard of that?
Is that within the Google Shopping platform?
No, it's something brand new. I should have got a link. It's sort of like, it seems like Angie's List, where like Google will take, and they're not doing it for accountants yet, but they're doing it for like brick and mortar places.
Hmm.
It seems pretty new, and it's like, if you want to, it's almost like linked to Google My Business or Google Your Business.
Okay, it might be a section of that. Sure.
Yeah, somehow it's linked. So what he's doing is he's helping people like link them and get ranked, I guess. But it's like, if you have a dog spa or a barber shop, you go up there and Google, like they verify you. They make sure that you're legit, and then you get ratings. But you haven't heard about this?
No, not that particular one. They're always coming out with something, and most of it's useless. A lot of it comes and goes, and they're constantly testing stuff. I usually wait till stuff kind of settles in before I really take a hard look at it. Like,
Okay.
in the SEO world, I am not the guy that wants to be out on the cutting edge of getting cut. and I know that's a lot of times what happens with them is they're throwing stuff out all the time, and there's always reasons for it. And sometimes the reasons are they're looking to see who's watching. Like, especially with SEO, they're throwing all kinds of rat traps out to try and catch the rats. And that's what they consider SEO. They consider them rats, and they're trying to exterminate them. For lack of a better word, that's what they're doing. Like,
But for what purpose though? What?
Well, Google, the whole premise behind Google is they're an ad network. They're a search engine to the human eye. If you look at it, at a glance, it's a search engine, right? Google's a search engine. But why are they a search engine? The search engine is their lead magnet to get their real customers. Their customers are people that will pay to display ads, and they've got eyeballs. So it's very similar to, in the old world, newspaper. Circulation. The bigger your circulation is, the more eyeballs you control, the more your ads are worth. So for Google to allow people to manipulate their search, which is their free thing on the front, it could destroy it. It could destroy the quality of it. If their quality goes down, their readership goes down, their circulation goes down, their eyeballs get less, and their value of their ads lessen. That is a massive, massive empire we're talking about there. It's billions of dollars on a monthly basis. So in their, if you look at it from their standpoint, they have a multi-billion-dollar empire, and they're not going to let a bunch of rats take it over and destroy it. So it makes a lot of sense if you look at it for what it really is. And they're basically just protecting the quality of their free lead magnet, because it's loose, it's out there. There are ways to manipulate it. But what they'll do is sometimes they will seed things out to see who's trying to do that. It's really
really?
It's really interesting. If you look they have all kinds of terms and policies and documents and fine print, a mile long in the back end of Google. And it's funny, on one page, they have terms of service about manipulating their results. And it's like, it is zero tolerance. If you are found to be manipulating their results, they will ban your site. They'll literally just kick you out. Just like that, no questions asked, no coming back. And the page right next to that, literally right next to that in the index, is how to manipulate their results. What do you think is in that document? They're telling you how to do it to see who's doing it. It's like I say, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that shit. That's exactly what they want you to do, so they can identify who's doing it. Then once they know who's doing it, then they start manually reviewing your stuff. Now they're going to dig in and they're going to see what you were really doing. You know, besides what they told you to do, they're going to find out what you're really doing.
So they set up a shell company to attract users to see what they're doing.
It's not even a shell company. It's just their rules. They're baiting you. They're putting the bait out in the rat traps. Like way back when this was many, many years ago, there was a thing that came out and it was leaked into the media, into the news. This was like on the nightly news, the major news stations. And it was about sitemaps. It was about Google sitemaps in particular. And they leaked out that if you wanted to rank on Google, you needed a Google sitemap, which was total bullshit. You did not need a Google sitemap to rank, but they put it out. They leaked it into the media. And all the SEO guys immediately jumped on it. And I remember this very clearly because at the time, I was in a very high-level mastermind group. And we all went to Austin, Texas to meet. And they're all going around the table and everybody's talking about what they're doing. And these Google sitemaps kept coming up over and over and over, and ways to create them, ways to manipulate them, ways to chuck them full of keywords, all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there listening, and I couldn't believe these guys were that stupid, that they were falling for it. And then it came around to me, and the guy that was leading the group, he said, I want to hear from John. He's the one been doing this the longest. I want to hear what he has to say about this. And I flat out told him, I said, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I said, you guys are all setting yourself up. You've all got your necks on the noose right now, just waiting for Google to pull the lever. And the guy that was putting on the group, he is the only one at that table that listened to me. And he pulled all the Google sitemaps off all of his sites. And he was the only one that survived when they pulled the trigger. And it was funny because the whole group, they were calling me a theory conspiracist, or whatever the hell you want to call that, conspiracy theorist, and telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, it took about 2 weeks and it actually happened. And then the group leader, he sent an email out to the whole group and he says, what do you think about John now?
So isn't that like entrapment?
It is.
It's like they're saying, oh my God, I had no idea.
It absolutely is. I've seen them do this over the years many, many times. So that's why I am not a real proponent of jumping on the cutting edge of what Google says, what Google releases.
Wow, that helps a lot. Jim. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it might be good stuff. I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. Haven't heard of that particular one. But I just typically don't jump on the newest thing that comes out from Google. In fact, I have been very hesitant to use any of their products throughout the years. I just moved over to their Google Calendar and I absolutely love it. But you know, it's been around, it's been vetted for a while. I think it's okay. But you never know. I mean, those guys, they collect data. They're master data collectors. So they can find out anything they want to know about you. It's crazy.
So they're just looking for people who's trying to game the system. And they're gonna.
Yeah, and they've got certain ways that they can identify that. When I originally started teaching SEO back in 2010, I'd already been doing it for a long time. But in 2010, I started teaching people how to do their own SEO. And I thought about like my methodology, what has been really successful for me when I did this commercially in the past. And I came up with an SEO methodology that I called Cloud Cover. And cloud cover is the term is still used with a lot of the high-end SEO people. They adopted it when I brought it to their attention. And I said, cloud cover is doing things in such a natural way that you can't be identified. It's like fighter pilots in World War II. The ones that came home, they learned to fly in the clouds, so they didn't get shot at. If you fly in clear blue sky, you are not safe. You're a target. So my whole cloud cover methodology of SEO is how I've survived all these years without ever getting shot down. I have pushed sites over the edge, but they're my own sites, and I pushed them over the edge to find out where the edges were. I've never had a client site banned, not once, not ever, because I've done everything very safely. You know, some people don't like the way I do SEO because it's slower and it's methodical, but I guarantee you it's safe and it's effective for the long term. It's the way. And one of the other things about the whole cloud cover methodology is it's the way a business owner would do it. If you focus on what's important to a business owner, that's the way you're going to be in the clouds. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. The whole idea of getting bad links removed from your link profile. A normal business owner, I don't know one business owner that would be concerned with removing people that had linked to their site. That is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. All that is Google asking people that have done SEO, tell us what you did so we can clean it up for you. You know, it's like, really? Are you that stupid? I mean, you know, and I don't like to bash people, but think about it. If you were Google, what would you do? That's what I would do. I'd say, hey, you guys aren't ranking well. This is why. You've done a lot of bad linking. Tell me about it. Tell me what you did. And then they've got a blueprint for all the places that allow that kind of linking. And now they can go after the whole group. So one guy blew the whistle, spilled the beans, and now he put the whole group in jeopardy because he was weak and stupid. So again, I'll stop that bashing, but it just really gets under my skin that people don't think. You know, they don't really take a look at things and question things. You know, like, why? Why would Google want to know who the bad links were? They were smart enough to know, right? They want you to admit it. That's, you know, that's like a really sharp attorney trying to get you in a courtroom to say something incriminating. That's what their job is. You know, they're good at it. Google's the same way. They're trying to get you to incriminate yourself so they can dig in and they can dig their heels in. They can go after the whole group. It's a very diabolical crowd. And I probably understand them because I think that way. I look at everything, I question everything, I want to know why on every aspect of everything. And then I think from their standpoint, you know, this is how I've been able to predict effectively all the changes that have come along the way through search engine optimization over the years. I've just thought, if I were the search engine, knowing what I know about the SEO world, seeing what they're doing, what would I do to counter that? That's how I knew it was going to go to artificial intelligence. In 2011, I predicted that. I said, you know, we've gamed the system out of control on content. They threw that all out the window. Now we've gamed the system on popularity with linking to the point of just over corruption. Where are they going to go now? They can't go back to content because we'd have them. You know, we've all got tools and software and stuff that can beat them at that game. We've all got automatic linking tools that can beat them at that game. So what's their next move? And I said, it's going to be artificial intelligence. They're going to look at the user experience. They're going to find out how the user likes the content. And it was the most brilliant thing I ever saw them do, because it wiped out. If you look at the traditional SEO guys, the guys that I, you know, for lack of a better word, grew up with, you know, the very beginning guys, they are all gone. They do not know how to do it anymore. Content doesn't work. The links don't work. They don't know how to function. They don't know how to game the system. And the truth is, when I created the ACT program really was the new way of SEO. It's like, you better figure out what your users want and give it to them so they'll interact with your websites and Google will still love you. That's the new currency. That was one of the biggest reasons I created the ACT program, aside from a lot of people that wanted SEO that weren't ready for it because they didn't have their business model in play right. So it was kind of twofold, but my original intent was for SEO. The ACT wasn't, the acronym was different when I first started with it. And somewhere I've got one of the SEO reboots from about 2014 where I drew it on the board and I sectioned it out into 3 pieces. And the A was R, the R was research. And when I looked at it, I'm like, the acronym, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. I don't like it. So I was racking my brain of what acronym I could come up with that I would like. And I came up with ACT. I just changed the R to an A for analysis, and then creation, and then traffic. And I think I forget what it was, but it wasn't traffic originally. So analysis, creation, and traffic, from a marketing and a branding standpoint, that's what I came up with to make something catchy that people would associate with and resonate towards.
John, how much should I charge for basically the ACT, or the A part of it, the analysis?
To actually do it for a client?
Yeah, how much? What's a ballpark? You
know? When I usually do that, it's usually about $3,500.
Okay.
Now it could be less or it could be more, because some people won't have just one segment. Some people will they'll still want to serve everybody. So the more segments you come up with, the deeper that pot gets and the more expensive it gets.
Yeah.
So if you've got that scenario, it could go up. You could also have a guy that knows his shit and can basically just rattle off everything that you need. And in that case, it could be considerably less. So again, you know, whenever you're doing custom commercial work for a company, doing boilerplate pricing doesn't really work, and they know it. You know, if you've got standardized pricing, that's almost like a commodity, and people don't want to buy a commodity. They want a specialist. They want somebody that really cares about them and their particular situation, because I can tell you from experience, I've been talking to these people for the last 30 years plus, working with them in one aspect or another, and they all think they're unique. And the truth is, none of them really are, you know, but they all think and believe that they are unique, but they're all based on the same principles. So that's why I can generally cut to the chase very, very quickly, because I already know the road. I'm just filling in the potholes so we don't take a beating going down the road. But I know the road that's traveled, and I can lead them through the process pretty quickly. So pricing, the more specialized you can get your pricing, the more you'll convert. And that's in the higher end of things. That's not like, generally a customer like that doesn't come and just buy stuff, packages off your website. They want to talk to you. They want a presentation. A lot of times they'll have a board and you'll have to present to multiple people on the board, because they'll all have different kinds of questions. They'll have a tech guy. If they have a tech guy and you're making a presentation to the board, you better be real concerned with how you approach that tech guy, because he's going to be the key. If he feels like he is threatened, if you come off and you belittle him, he is going to become your enemy. And when you leave the room, he's going to be talking to the board saying, nope, that's not the right guy for us. You have to really appeal to that guy, because that's the guy that's either going to push you forward or pull you back. You don't want to threaten him. You want to make him feel like you are going to give him the tools and the support he needs to become a superhero in that company, and you're going to become irrelevant and go away very quickly. If you do that, you will have his 100% full support. And then if you do right, it's like what Craig says. Craig says this all the time. He says, do good in hopes that someone will see it. You always do your best because here it is. You always do your best because you don't know who's watching. The people in the company will be watching. They've already met you. You've presented. You've created that credibility. You've gained their trust. The tech guy supports you. You got his endorsement. They're all going to be watching. And if you make this tech guy look like a superhero, they're probably going to see that. And your value is going to go through the roof. So that's the way I would approach that whole scenario of dealing with commercial clients. Those are my, in that realm, I've got a lot of different sections in my business. I have a lot of different departments. I've got people in each one doing the right stuff. But as far as like in the commercial side of things, in commercial SEO, in that section, that segment of my business, my ideal customer is the manufacturer and the $2 to $10 million annual sales. Now, over the years, I've dealt with everybody. I've dealt with everybody from the mom and pop to the Walmarts of the world. And the bigger the company, when you hit that 10 million mark, if you weren't the one that took them to 10 million and you're coming in after the fact, that's too much politics in the way. You got too many people to deal with. You got too many people that have their neck on the chopping block, depending on you, and you'll get a lot of resistance. They play, backstabbing. It's just a nasty place to work. Anybody that's worked in a company trying to climb the ladder, you know what I'm talking about. The office politics is atrocious. I've never been there. I've never worked for anybody in that capacity, but my wife has, and I swear when she would come home from work, she worked in medical insurance administration, and every day she'd come home from work absolutely miserable from the office politics, all the backstabbing and the bullshit that went on in that office. And it was just miserable for her. It'd take her an hour just to decompress when she got home. And most exciting thing that ever happened for me was she got laid off. And she was looking through the paper after that. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm looking for a job. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that to yourself? And she says, well, don't I need a job? I'm like, if you want something to do, I got plenty for you to do. So she's been doing my billing for over 20 years. She's just, she does all the stuff I don't want to do, which is mostly everything. If you guys call in the office, you get to talk to her. She schedules stuff for me, all the little knick-knack stuff that would just eat me alive. She handles that stuff. And the only office politics she's got to deal with was me. And that might be worse. I don't know. So, but anyway, she seems to be much happier with that. So that's what I know about office politics. When you get over that $10 million range, you start getting into that. And the bigger you go, the worse it gets. When you go below the $2 million mark, now you've got what you're dealing with there is you've got a guy that has struggled to get there. He's still struggling, figuring out how to move up to the $10 million mark. And in a lot of cases, he got there by accident. And I don't want to belittle anybody, but in a lot of cases I've seen they got there just by being in the right place at the right time. They didn't get there methodically. They were in the right place at the right time and they got lucky. And the problem with that is they don't have the experience. They don't know how they got there and they don't know how to move it forward. And for the most part, they have not paid for ads. They have spent very little on advertising. They had the right connection, whatever it was. It wasn't built on paid ads. They're going to cut their teeth on you when you start telling them they need to spend money on advertising. That's what SEO is. Commercial SEO is advertising. In the $2 to $10 million range, what I've found is most of them they have an ad budget. They're actively spending money to get that business to either stay stable or to grow. And they understand that that is a necessary part of business. So they're not cutting their teeth on me and why I need to spend money to advertise. I don't like to be the teething toy that they cut their teeth on. When you go into the little mom and pops or the small businesses and you're the first one to tell them they need to spend money to grow their business and they've never done it before, they are going to be absolute nightmares in wanting to just chase every penny. They want to analyze every penny. They want to see returns. They don't get long term. They don't get that, hey, SEO is a long-term investment. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to pump money into SEO and get results the same day. It doesn't happen that way. In many cases, you're building for 5 years from now, 2 years from now, a year from now. You're building on the long run, and it takes a while to get there. So if they don't understand that, they're going to be an absolute nightmare. So that's why I say for that particular segment of my business, the $2 to $10 million range, that's where I want to be. Those are the clients. If you look at the ACT program, and one of the first lessons, I talk about scaling your business and looking at your income versus your effort and where your money comes from and where your effort goes out to. And you'll see a very small sliver of the customers you deal with are bringing you the most money and causing you the least headaches. Why is that? Why would you want to remain there? You want to cut those people that are a problem, that are taking up 80% of your time and only bringing you a sliver of your income. Get rid of them. They're eating you alive. They're preventing you from moving forward. You're spending all your time on something that is it's a no-win situation. If you just cut out 10, 20, 30% of those people, you'll get a massive chunk of time back that you can invest in finding some more good ones. Where you put a little bit of effort into them, they're happy, they're a pleasure to deal with, and they are willing to pay you a lot more. Your income will go up and your free time will go up if you do just that. What could go wrong with that? What could go wrong with more income and more free time, right? That's what we all want. That is how to get it. So that's where identifying your ideal segment of your market is so important. Like, do you think I'm going to spend time and effort building a funnel to try and get commercial clients that are at $500,000 a year? That would be suicidal. But I see so many people doing that. They want to focus on everybody. They don't want to take the time to look at the whole market, look at the segments, and figure out, who do I really want to work with, and put their effort into getting more of those people. Guaranteed, that is the way you scale a business. It doesn't have to be high dollar people. This is another aspect. This is another lesson that you guys can learn. There is safety in your income from a lot of different income sources. If you focus only on big, massive clients and you only have a few of them, you're not stable. You're not safe on your income, because what happens if you're focused on a single industry and the industry takes a hit? Like, what if you're in the hotel industry? What if you served hotels right now and all of your customers, you had big, massive customers, say you got 5 of them, and a pandemic hits? What's that going to do to you? You're done. Yeah, you had great customers last month, but they're gone. And who knows when they're coming back. That's not safe. Safety is in numbers. Safety is in diversity. Like, notice I said manufacturers of 2 to 10 million, not all in the same category. Like, I might have a diamond or jewelry guy. He's covering that category. I might have a water sports guy. He's covering that guy. I've got a golf equipment guy. He's covering that aspect. You want them in all sectors, all over the place, because, you know, economies roll. They come and go. Things happen. Things change. And you want that diversity. It's just like having stock in a portfolio. If you've got all your eggs in one basket, the day can be really good or the day can be really bad. If you've got a diversified portfolio, every one of your stocks is going to have good days and bad days, but typically not all at the same time. You know, if you've got them segmented in different areas, when one thing goes up, others will go down. So it's safe. It's a lot safer if you plan your business that way and you look at your clientele in that way. And again, I was talking about, you don't necessarily need to have high dollar clientele if you've got a lot of them and they're self-service. Like, that is the beauty of online businesses. You can scale digital products like never before. You can offer digital support and digital products, and at a very low cost to a whole lot of people with a very minimal effort. There are ways to scale that. Think about that. If you had 1,000 people paying you $30 a month for something that took you an hour a week. I don't know anybody that does something like that. Think about that as a way to scale. What would happen if that guy put a little effort into a marketing campaign and brought in an additional 1,000 or 2,000 people paying $30 a month for the same thing? How much more would he have to work? It's the same hour support. Might be 2, might have to have an additional call or whatever, but doubling, tripling income with an extra hour a week. You know, that's the kind of stuff you want to look for. How can you position yourself to create massive value to a massive audience with a minimal amount of effort? There's opportunity in that realm. There's also opportunity in services. The services business is totally different. There's self-serve. A lot of times what you'll find too is in any different category, you'll find that there's 3 kind of steps to almost everything. There's the do-it-yourselfers, where you're just providing, here's how to do it. And you've got a big audience that will buy, here's how to do it. That's all they want. That's what they're happy with. Everything's good. You've also got the ones that they want to do it themselves, but they don't have the confidence. So those are the ones that is do it with them. You can offer a higher level of service. You can still do it as a group if you want, but it's a higher touch, higher level of communication, and it's the done with you. So there's the done by you, the done with you, and then there's those that just don't want to deal with it. They know they want it. They don't want a learning curve. They don't want to spend any time. They just want it plunked on their desk as a pretty package. And that's the done for you. Those people are willing to pay a lot. Those people are typically a lot more successful in what they're doing. They have a lot more access to money because they're being successful at doing what they're doing. And they understand that if they spend time on a learning curve doing something that is not in their wheelhouse, it's going to damage their income. They should be spending their time at the best and highest use of it. Those are the ones that will pay you the most, complain the least, and just want it done. In almost every category, you'll have those 3 different types of people. So if you can figure out how to serve them with a minimal amount of time on your part, that's how you position yourself to really grow and create a freedom type business. So.
Hey, John, I have a question for you.
I don't even remember what question was that started that, but that.
Hey, good morning, John. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, living the dream, babe, every day.
All right. Did that site get dialed in for you?
It totally got dialed in, and it's on its way to spread good.
All right.
So that'll be good. I have a question for you about list building.
Okay.
What is the, I've just listened to a bunch of different podcasts and whatnot, and what is in your experience, what are the ways to start with, well, let me step back. The person I was listening to the other day, they said, hey, you might have the best cupcakes in the world, but if you open up your cupcake shop in the middle of a ghost town, meaning without a list, you're not going to sell a lot of stuff. So real priority, at least in a couple people, is to build that list while you're working on your lead magnet and things like that. What are some ways to build the list that you're aware of? And are there free ways and slow ways, or fast ways and paid ways, for example?
Well, there's all of the above. The first thing, the speed at which you do it depends on the traffic part of things. So again, it kind of barrels back to ACT, but the thing that is going to get you the best conversion is in your creation of the lead magnet, the giveaway, because if you're going to generate a lead is generated the same way a sale is generated. It's a give and a receive. So if you want to receive a lead, you have to be willing to give something of value to make that sale, because it is a sale no matter how you slice it. If you're generating a lead, look at that like a sale. If you underestimate the project, you'll fail. If you underestimate what it takes to make that sale, you will fail, guaranteed. So when you look at, okay, who do I want to generate a lead for? And this is all detailed out in the whole ACT program with the timeline. I say the best lead magnet, the best thing to generate a lead, is something of value that helps them take the first step toward what they want. And some of the things, the criteria for what makes a good lead magnet is it's very fast to consume. Like they can consume it in a matter of seconds, if not minutes. But a book is not a good lead magnet. If someone has to read the book, that's just a lot of work. Nobody's going to raise their hand and say, oh yeah, could I have that book? If they do, they're just looking for decoration for their shelves. And there's a lot of people who do that, but it's not a good lead magnet. A good lead magnet is something that they'll say, yes, I want that because I want to move forward, not because I want something to put on my shelf. They want the content of it. And a book is like a whole story. It's not a single step. You want to give them that single step to take action right now to move toward getting what they want. That makes a good lead magnet. It should also leave them wanting the next step. So a good lead magnet should lead them into, what's the next move? What's that going to do for you? The value of the next step, because the next step is going to be a higher level of your consumption. The first thing should be a very small micro commitment. Remember, I've hit this in the dating realm many, many times of micro commitments. Why micro commitments are so important and powerful, because you have to get people to commit. It's like making a sale. If you ask for too big a sale before you've created the value, you'll get a no, you'll get a rejection. So once you get that figured out, you've got the perfect thing that the person on the other end is going to absolutely want. It's going to help them. It's going to turn them into a true prospect for you. Somebody that is really, really interested in what you have for sale on the other side of the freebies. That's the person you're going to want. So figure out what it is that they want. Give them that first step. Let them take it. And then they're going to want more. That's where you can turn your lead magnet into a webinar or a sales presentation. Then you can take them through the rest of the sequence, which is create demand and desire. The closer you get them to the outcome, the more that demand and desire will build. Then you eliminate the objections, make your offer. That's the sequence. That's the sequence for any good marketing campaign.
Hey, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Hey, real quick, how you guys doing? I've been listening in, but I was just doing a couple different things, but I haven't missed a word.
Sure.
So when it comes to the lead magnet, and you're saying just to give out something really quick and easy that they can go do. So from a coaching perspective, is it better then to give them, even if step one is more complicated than what you're suggesting, go into step one and give them something they can go do and then ask them how it went? I mean, see it, that they did it.
You could
Got an
do
outcome.
that if you want to make sure it's easy enough that they're going to actually do it very quickly and easily, though. If it's something like that, you might want to move that into more of the product after they've got committed to it.
Okay.
So the first thing might be just a decision. It might be just like, hey, here's something to help you decide if this is even right for you.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because remember, a decision might be the first step in the process. They might need to decide. Like, that's why you'll see a lot of free guides on, don't buy life insurance until you know these 3 things. Those 3 things are going to help you decide what type of life insurance you need.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. That's a big help right there.
Yeah.
All right.
So it doesn't have to be a big thing. In fact, it shouldn't be a big thing. It shouldn't be a complicated thing at all.
That's what caught my ear when you said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I've got to run to another meeting, but thank you so much. Everyone
Sure.
have a blessed day.
All right. So anyway, once you figure out what that lead magnet is, what that perfect first step is, and you've got that in place, now you're ready. Now you're ready for traffic. So if you try to do traffic before you're ready for it, it's just going to be expensive.
But but when you have that lead magnet, how do you then, but let's say you had a list with 4 people, how do you go about building, when you got the lead magnet, how do you go about building the list, getting in front of eyeballs?
Okay. So yeah, that's the traffic piece. So one of the first things that you do is, in this is identifying your market, your segment, figuring out who they are, whose eyeballs you want to get in front of. And then you determine where they are. It's like, you're going to put a street sign up. You want to make sure you put it on the right corner. Because if the wrong people are on that corner, you're either going to attract the wrong people or they're not going to see your sign. They're just going to ignore it. So you need to figure out who it is that you want to lead generate and where they're hanging out. They might be in a group. They might be following someone else. That's the perfect scenario, instead of going out and buying traffic, to reach out to that influencer and say, hey, I have a perfect lead magnet for your audience. They would love it. You will help them. They're going to love you for bringing it to them for free. And after I give it to them, they're going to be in my sequence, which you'll be a cookied for your affiliate. And I'm going to offer them a free webinar where I sell them on this, and you'll get X amount of percentage of that. Would you like to do that? So that's one way to do it. That has been my favorite way of all throughout my entire online career. That's how I've gotten the majority of my leads and sales, is just that way. a lot of you guys that are here right now are from Craig's group. That's exactly what I did with Craig's group. He was the influencer. I reached out to him. I said, look, I've got cool stuff that your audience would love. If you let me send it to them, I'll give you a cut of it. You know, so that's what you do. You reach out, you find who has your audience, bring your stuff to them, cut a deal. The other way, that can be a slow road. If you don't have connections, if you don't know people, you're going to have to build those relationships. So that might be a slower path. It's a very steady path, and it's a very good path. It's something that you probably want to do regardless of the other ways that you might want to do it too. But you can just go out, you can pay for traffic. Let's say there's an influencer on Instagram or on Facebook. You don't even need to reach out and ask them. You can run an ad and you can place that ad in front of every one of their followers, like right now. You don't have to ask for permission. You can just go do it. And you can force it. You know, you said, how can I force it? How can I go fast? That's how you move faster. You can pay for speed. It's like the faster the car, the more it costs. So it's how fast do you want to go? Do you want a VW Beetle, or do you want a Maserati? Yeah. So it's how fast, how stylish, all that good stuff. But there is a ton of different places where you can pay to advertise. But again, the key is to be at the right place. Like, for instance, you, just like I said, you want to find the influencer online that has the followers that you want, not just like a generic audience. You don't ever want to advertise to a generic audience and try and sift them out. It would cost you a fortune to do that. Let the other guys do it. They've already done it. Like the guy, well, like let's use Craig, for instance. What did it cost Craig to build the audience that we have access to? He spent years and tons of money flying all over the country, doing presentations and putting on events and all of that stuff. He put a lot of work into it. And then it's laid in front of you on a silver platter. So yeah, he wants to charge for it. He needs to recoup some of his costs. It's absolutely, you know, reasonable. It's fair and reasonable. The same thing. Look at all those influencers on Instagram and Facebook. What did it cost them? They probably spent a ton of money advertising to build that following. So it's fair and reasonable for you to pay to access that. They built it. They made something for you that is perfect. They saved you a ton of time and expense. For you to advertise to their group, I guarantee it cost you a sliver of a fraction of what it costs them to build that group. It's a bargain. But it's only good if you've got the right audience and you've got the right lead magnet. You will generate sales that way. If you miss the mark on any part of it, advertising is just expensive that way. So you got to know your audience. You got to have the right offer for them. And when you make your offer, it's really important, the big idea concept. I cannot stress enough that you create a big idea that resonates with your audience, with your segment, with your avatar. If you do, that'll grab their attention and pull them in. And remember the 3 key components to that. Any big idea has 3 key components to it. It has a promise. It's a promise of what they desire, their desired outcome. It has a unique delivery mechanism that is the thing that does the work for them to get them the free thing or get them the promised desired outcome. And it's said in a compelling way that they haven't heard it before, that just sparks their curiosity. Like they lean forward and go, what? What is that? I've never heard of that. If you can combine those 3, you'll have an absolute winner.
That's really good stuff. You know, that does make sense to take the about reaching out to other people who have an audience already that resonates with a niche in that's not, of course, competing with them, but that complements them, and that is a faster way than yeah, that is a faster way. It was funny. What comes up is that feeling like, oh boy, I really have to. It's kind of like what comes up is I read it the other day. You really need to have a go-getter attitude to make this work. It's kind of like dating. One opens themselves up to rejection to take like that initial lead magnet, which is like your first child, and someone saying, nah, that's an ugly baby. Nah, we don't. My audience doesn't want that. But it's really about putting it's like a two-part formula. It's like doing creating the lead magnet, but then getting the courage and support to then get out there and take the no's and the no's and the no's until you get the yes. So that there's a lot to that, but it does sound like a good path.
Yeah. And there's two ways really to kind of look at it. There's the way of collaboration, and there's the way of brute force. And I like both. The collaboration way is the friendly way to do things. That's like reaching out, creating a relationship, doing a joint venture offer or an affiliate offer, something like that. The brute force way, and with that way, you're trying to find people that you don't necessarily compete with. That's the friendly way. Doing it the other way, the way of brute force, you don't really care if you compete with them because you're not asking their permission. You're leveraging, you're taking advantage of something they've worked hard for, and you're going to come in and literally steal it. You're going to advertise to their audience, whether they like it or not. That's the way of brute force. And you can do either way, whatever resonates with you, or you can do them both. There's no reason not to do them both, because really you're advertising, there's nothing underhanded about that, really. It's the way of the world. Advertise, find your audience, bring your message in front of them.
Yeah. No, God, it's funny. Sometimes you need to hear something twice. It's like when you said the first way of, you have a relationship with, or, talk to someone, reach out and see if, you can get on their affiliate program. My mind kind of like froze there. And I didn't really fully hear the second part. You're right about just some paid advertising with someone, that you don't have to ask permission. You just have to have a good, do the analysis, have a good lead magnet in a targeted area that would be interested in hearing from you, not in direct competition. So yeah, that's a good way too. Let me ask you one other question about this.
There's definitely something to be said for brute force.
Yeah, that's kind of what is it? It's like that phrase. I love that phrase, except when it's used on me. And the phrase is, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, exactly. And in this one, you wouldn't even have to ask for forgiveness. It's just you're paid for the ads.
Yeah. How do you feel now? Again, I know this is unique to whatever the magnet is, or the or what the audience is and whatnot. But I was doing a little research on it, and someone mentioned a formula. If you're hesitant about getting started, is try, instead of coming up with something that will solve like a lead magnet that will solve the problem. You can kind of get there faster if you do a lead magnet that will just identify the problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like even just identify it and identify, like, have you ever felt this way or had these things, or here's why people, yeah, let me give it, like, here's why people fail on a diet. Here are the 10 reasons why people fail on a diet. Well, that's a lot easier to any of us can write that like right now. But while you're working, but that could be a free lead magnet that people would real quickly get. But then the next step is the solution. So does that make sense what I'm saying? Like a lead magnet could be just identifying the problem. People would relate with more versus giving them a solution right away, which they might get or not get.
Well, another thing, there's two things that you could tell someone. You could tell somebody what to do, or you could tell them how to do it. So when you're looking at your lead magnet, sometimes the lead magnet, like you just said, let's say you You ask them if they feel a certain way. And then, hey, I know why you feel that way, and I know what to do about it. I know how to fix it. So then they get your lead magnet. Your lead magnet describes their scenario. They resonate with it. They say, oh my God, yeah, that's me. Oh my God, that's the problem. That's what's causing this. So you've just awakened them. You took them from, like in the prospecting pyramid, the level of awareness in the prospecting pyramid, you took the base of the pyramid, which is the biggest audience, the unaware, and you just now made them aware of what their problem is, the thing that's causing them all this pain and turmoil that they didn't associate it before. Yeah, they had it, it was there, but they didn't know why, so they just ignored it. So once you activate them to the problem and then what the solution is, you can literally even tell them how to fix it right in the lead magnet. You can make that a short, quick thing. Like, like if you're overweight, hey, you just stop eating. You move more, you eat less. But you told them what to do, but you didn't tell them how to do it. Then you invite them to your webinar where you say, look, I'm going to walk you step by step. This sounds hard, but it's really not. I'm going to show you, there's some stuff that you could do or you could buy that would make this easy, that will do the work for you. And then you present that, you build the demand and desire, you introduce them to the product, you walk them through the whole stages of what's going to happen, the transformation, how they're going to feel afterwards. You're creating that demand and desire, you eliminate the objections, and you make your offer.
Yeah. I like this formula because it gives me kind of three products. My initial instinct is like, well, just do the lead magnet, which like solves the problem. Well, that's, my point is this way is really good. Number one, I can identify, like, have you ever felt this way? Or here's the 10 reasons why people fail at or have a hard time with this. People, including myself, love to talk about the problem. So everyone can relate to that. But that's like so simple. And these are micro commitments. So I'm not even I'm just saying what the problem is, like you say, educating people. And then within that, it's like, well, if you'd like to know what to do, join me in the webinar. So I like the fact that we cement that, yes, there is a problem. And then the second piece, just a webinar, identifies the solution, what the solution is. And then the offer would be how to do it. So, what the problem is, what the solution is, and then how, because I think people will pay for it, the how, once they realize, A, there is a problem, B, there is a solution, sorry, there is a solution, and C, here's how to get to that solution. So that's like a simple 3-part recipe full of micro commitments. The first one's easy, they get a little harder, but they're leading. Does that make sense, that using that approach?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the process. The process rarely alters. It's always about, and if you think about it, it's not new. You've been hearing this forever. In fact, a lead magnet, it's just in a lot of cases, it's just information. So if you look at the way that you've all been taught to network, what's the first thing they say that you need when you're going to go to a networking event, right? You need, and they don't call it a lead magnet, they call it an elevator pitch. And they say it's a 30-second thing that you can say to grab someone's attention and get them to want more. That's a lead magnet. That's how you generate a lead. So figuring out what that information is that you can share in those 30 seconds that will generate a lead is very important. That's, in the real world, that's your lead magnet. It's an elevator speech. And it's just figuring out, what can I convey to cause that person to want more information? That's a lead. And the whole purpose, you don't ever go into your sales pitch right there on the spot. You don't do that. You generate the lead. The purpose of that is to generate the lead. Now you get them coming, you get them wanting to set up an appointment. That's like the next formalized level. You know, it's like if you do the first micro commitment, you meet the girl at Starbucks for a cup of coffee, you're not going to want to meet her there again tomorrow, right? You're going to want to take it up a level. You're going to want to set a date. That's your next level of commitment. So that's where the presentation comes in. Hey, let's set aside a time where we're not at this marketing event. We don't have all this distraction. And let's set a time where we can spend some time going over, and I can show you, I can tell you anything you want to know about this thing that you're now interested in. I can help you get what you want. So you basically, you generate the lead, you set the appointment, and then now is your time to present. So in the digital space, that's lead magnet, webinar, sale. And you know, all the little nuances in between. It's the same thing. Remember, I've said this many times in the past, if you found something that works in the real world, it's very easy to digitize it. If it didn't work in the real world, don't expect it to work in the digital world. It's not magic. You know, if it didn't work over there, it's not going to work over here. don't expect that the world changed and the laws of physics changed because we're now online. They didn't. Human nature is the same, whether you're face to face or doing it digitally. There's a few little nuances to that. You know, sometimes people are braver online, but generally it's all the same. So,
John, I just have a question, if there's still a little bit of time.
sure.
I'm really making an effort to work through a lot of what you teach in the ACT program to really fix things from the bottom up, you know, to see how I can increase a lot of web traffic, and because I had questions of why don't I get the right hits and so forth. But what I'm working on right now is just to correct all the title tags and title descriptions on my website. And I do a lot of research before I want to do that. But my question is one for my main page. So when somebody for my main page, my first page, homepage on my website, is it okay that I use, I understand that has to be really short. Is it okay to use very competitive, but yet very descriptive keywords? Or should I use alternative ones? Like, for instance, can I use the word promotional products, which is, and say custom polo shirts? Those are, you know, is it okay to use very competitive ones in that?
Sure.
And then I can abbreviate. And then also, how does it, you know, on each page I'm going to, you know, redo everything because it's so wrongly done right now.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, you know, where to use very competitive ones and where to use less competitive ones for most effectiveness.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to title tags, don't think so much about competition. Think about relevancy.
Okay.
So if what you want to try and do, like your homepage with you, for instance, you cover hundreds of different product categories. Yeah. But on your homepage, think about it in terms of who I am and what I do. What's the best word or words that describe that?
Okay.
You know, so promotional products, that describes a whole bunch of different things. So that's a good outcome for that.
But it's very competitive, but it's yet very descriptive. But that's what you said. I should think about relevancy there.
Yeah, relevancy is king. And then what you want to do is like promotional products by Mango Branding or Mango Brands. You want to connect your brand to the overarching thing that you're in. The quicker Google understands that, and the more content that's relevant underneath that umbrella that they find on your site, the more keywords they'll rank you for and the more pages they'll acknowledge. Yeah,
because I have a big problem with it. Is a clothing brand that's called Mango. That's very established. That does, you know, it's an old brand. and I think it gets confused with that. So I want to really, like you always preach, to say it shouldn't be so much about the name of my company at all as to what my company does, which is totally different than what they do. So
Yeah.
if I just put promotional products, custom shirts, which is kind of the bottom line of most condensed words I could find, and that's okay to use. But in the title description for each page, I can kind of break it down, whether it's mugs, whether it's
I don't know that I would put shirts in the title of your main company website.
Really?
Because you're about a lot more than just shirts. Google is apt to confuse you with the clothing company because of that.
Okay.
And then the other thing, it kind of says, hey, we are a clothing company. So you're
very good that you say that.
Your relevance, you're breaking your relevance there. What you want to use, have you heard of LSI?
No.
That's latent semantic indexing. That's one of the things that Google looks at to cluster and discover relevance of something. And it's basically words that mean the same thing or words that are often used together in the same niche. Like for instance, if baseball was your thing, stadium would be an LSI word. Home run would be an LSI word. First base would be an LSI word. So in your promotional products, look for the words that are in the same realm, that mean the same thing, that are highly associated with that.
And that's for the title, title tag or the title description?
This is in the main title is a shorter thing, and then the description is where you put in there how to get them to click through. That's where you almost put a call to action in there. That's where you have a promise of, hey, here's what you're going to get. If you can put that into the title as well, all the better. But your whole goal with a title and description, that's what's going to be shown on Google. That's what's going to get you the click. And relevancy is truly the key to that.
Okay. Yeah, and the other reason why I don't really want to use, I looked and I saw that custom shirts is very, very, it's searched for a lot, but a lot of people that search for that wants t-shirts. And although I do a lot of t-shirts, it's very competitive and I don't want to focus on that. So, then I thought custom polo shirts, that's also very, it's not as much search for, but you say I shouldn't even bring the shirts in, because that is what's confusing me maybe with others. Yeah. And Mango is not at all a competitor. It's just confusing because it's both Mango.
Yeah, it confuses you with them and the fact that you're both offering clothing. So relevancy also, this is something you might want to think about too, is adding schema tags to your site that can further define what you're all about. Schema tags can really help that relevance to the search engine. But
well, I'm actually much more concerned about being found. I'm much more concerned to be discovered or stand out from my competition than that I'm worried about Mango. To tell you the truth, that Mango is not a competitor at all. So do you think I should bring Mango branding in my title tags? Because it's really not.
I would on the homepage.
On the homepage, okay.
On the homepage, I would leave Mango in. You could probably take it out of all the rest of the pages, all the rest of the titles.
And all the rest of the pages, you say I should kind of focus on promise.
Yeah, focus on the relevance and the promise of what they're going to get. That's going to get higher click through, and that will get you higher in the search. But the schema tags, I don't know if you're up to that or not, but schema gives another way of relevance, of showing Google relevance, because certain words can mean certain things in different industries. Like I use the example of cougar. That could be a car from the 70s, or it could be a wild cat, or it could be a woman of a certain age. And it could be all three of those things, depending on what you're talking about and what the relevancy is. So by putting a schema tag, you're actually making it clear of we're talking about a big cat in this instance when we refer to cougar.
Okay.
And that way it makes it really clear. Google doesn't have to guess. When they are sure, they're more likely to rank you when they're certain. If they're not certain and they're guessing, then that's where you bounce around and, you know, things are not stable.
Okay. No, thank you. It's such an interesting process to look at all these things that you think, like you say, oh, I think that's what people will search for and what they really search for. And we need, like you said, always we have to give them what they want, not what we think we want to give them.
One of the things too that you should probably look at as far as terminology in your particular industry is the thing called premiums and incentives. There's a whole industry built around premiums and incentives.
That's true.
And they purchase the exact products that you sell. Like you would be the provider for the premiums and incentives buyers out there in the world.
So on one of the pages, I should bring that in maybe in the title.
Yeah, those buyers are buyers that would buy your stuff in massive quantities for their companies. Like a premium and incentive buyer in a big insurance company, that's the guy or the gal that is in charge of purchasing custom t-shirts with the logos on them for all the employees.
Yes.
That's the person that's in charge of putting on outdoor events like family, you know, company family parties and stuff where they give everybody a hat, they give everybody a mug, they give everybody a, you know, a shirt and a bar of soap with the logo on it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the people in companies that I'm looking for. So premiums and incentives. Yeah.
Premiums and incentives is an entire industry that those buyers, there is actually a buyer's guide. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it looks like an old style yellow page phone book of all the premium and incentive buyers in the country.
That'll be a good one to see.
Yeah, it's a very expensive book, but it's very worthwhile because it gives you the name of the buyer, their direct phone number, their email address, everything. And I know back in the 90s, I actually had a clothing company that we sold sport fishing t-shirts, sportswear for fishermen. And that book was one of the most valuable pieces of content that I ever purchased as far from an advertising standpoint. Because I bought that book and I handed that to my salespeople and I said, I want you to go down the list. I want you to call everybody in this book. I don't care how long it takes, but these are the people that you're going to sell to.
Yeah, I will do some research to see if one can get a hold of that. That'll be, because that is the person in a company that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and from a search standpoint, if you can figure out what those premium and incentive buyers are searching for, there's probably a lot less searches, but it doesn't matter. The search volume in that case, if you're hunting elephants, you only need one bullet.
Yes.
You can have only one person searching. It's like I have a water park guy, and it's funny when you look at the competitors, they're going after all the generic keywords, and we're hunting the keywords that are very specific that there might only be 1 or 2 searches a month for it. It's barely enough to register. And those are the keywords that we're going after. There's no
So those are
competition.
the keyword. I mean, I have so many pages, you know, so I will then use some of those that's less wide, that's more specific for some of the pages, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You can make specific pages for, and you want to do that for relevancy. And the other thing is on your other pages, you want to seed information about those pages and put a link to them in the content. Like you could be talking about the t-shirts. You could have a custom t-shirt page, and in the content, you're talking about custom t-shirts, how you can make custom t-shirts for people. And then in the content, you can say, yeah, we service premiums and incentives buyers, or buyers for the premiums and incentives industry. And those keywords, you want to link those keywords to the premium and incentive page.
Oh, those are links that I can use. Yeah, because I have all those pages are set up, but nothing is linked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Internal linking between your content is really important for on-page optimization.
Okay.
If you look at Wikipedia, it's like every sentence has a link to another piece of content inside of Wikipedia. Google loves that. It loves people to be able to find stuff through links, trusted links. So internal links in a site are very trusted.
Okay, no, that's very good. So that's a great tip as well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mariette, what is your website?
mangobrandingusa.com.
Good, that's what I was looking for.
Chat.
Yep, thank you. John, I have a quick question.
Okay.
I called somebody yesterday and I was looking for a phone number. I found it on White Pages Premium. Called them. They weren't interested in what I was trying to sell, and he wasn't selling what I was buying. So after I hung up, I was immediately served up a lead magnet. Immediately. Mm-hmm. So I had been talking to him off his cell phone, and then immediately after hanging up, within seconds, I was served up, and it wasn't him per se, it was something that he was doing. What was the technology that he was using to do that?
So you were on the phone with him?
Yeah.
And then where'd you get the lead magnet? An email?
It came in as a text.
Oh, okay. So he probably has a service, an SMS service that is like an autoresponder, like Twilio. Twilio is one of the services that does that. So you can set up, like, if someone texts you or someone calls you, that as soon as that action completes, like if you're on the phone, literally when you hang up, that triggers an action to do an auto response. So
got it.
That's more than likely how you got that. That's a really good point to bring that up. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, except that, his content was completely and utterly worthless. But he basically started serving up, he's an attorney by trade. So there's the video showing him talking about all of these people making thousands of dollars a day with his system. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I listened for a while, and he says, all I need is 5 minutes of your time. And I said, okay, well, I'll give him 5. 18 minutes later, he's still serving up testimonials of young people, I would say 20 to 25-year-old, saying that they're making all this money. And I still don't have any idea what his product is. And so there's a fill-in is an opt-in page to give him information. So I started to do that, but then there was another link. So I followed that link, and the link took me to another page where he says, and I still don't have any idea what his company name is, what his product is, but now he's serving up that for $47, I can buy his system. I was shocked. I was just shocked. And I still don't know what his product was.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, somebody will set them up with technology and all that, but they're not really good at marketing. And, that making a statement like it's only going to be 5 minutes and then dragging you into a 20-minute thing where you're not telling them what you promised, that's just bad karma.
Yeah. It was a great example of bad, John.
Yeah. Great example of great technology, but not used properly. It's
100%.
A misuse. That would be a case of he should probably have different phone numbers. So depending on how you called him, what number you called him on, that you would get the right response when you hung up.
That's interesting, because when I did the premium on the White Pages, I found 6 cell phone numbers for him.
Yeah.
So he probably has them all set up for different things.
He might have that. I don't know for sure because I haven't used the technology, but I would guess that you could probably also set up extensions. So like if you dialed in, it could say press 1 for, for this extension, press 2 for this, press 3 for that, etc. And I would guess that based on the extension you connected to, you could also send a customized response.
So you can do that on a phone. So why, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to
Sure.
do that in a text. That makes perfect sense.
Sure, that would be my guess. Like I said, I haven't. Don't take me on face value on that one. It's just a guess, but I would.
I got a question for you, John. I did a speaking event and I had quite a response. And the way I had Kartra set up, I had 67 leads that came out of that. So they came in, took the giveaway, gets my thank you video, and then I want them to opt in, right?
Mhm.
So, and what I want them to do is book a call with me. So
Yeah, well, they already opted in, right?
yeah, they opted in, and I hadn't captured their phone number in this lead magnet. But
Okay.
what was happening is I had Kartra set up for linking to my Google Calendar, and they don't get to automatically book, so I have to approve them, right? But I set it up for that they couldn't book for four days, and that's probably too long. I don't know what the optimal time is, but I found that when I speak, depending on where I'm at, I'm busy on that entire day, that I'm not watching what's going on in Kartra. So I didn't want to have somebody booking and getting to speak with me right away, because I wouldn't see it or I wouldn't be able to respond to it in time.
Sure. Well, the way you do that is all you have to do is go into the calendar and block off the days around your live events, so they're just not available. And then outside of that, you can put the I think there's a buffer time if somebody couldn't schedule a call like same day, but they could schedule it for tomorrow. So I had
it set for 4 days, and so what happened is it blocked 3 of these people, and the reason why I found out was because 3 of them were smart enough to go track me down and tell me that they couldn't book any time with me, and didn't see any time available for 3 months. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
What I surmised is that I was busy. So I have certain days that I have available for coaching, right? That you can book your call with me. So I make those times available. But I think what Kartra did was they looked at my calendar, and if I was busy for like say 10 o'clock, it wouldn't show that 9 o'clock was available. It would just block out the whole day. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So before I send out a request or an invitation to the same 67 people, I want to make sure I've got it right and set up correctly.
Yeah. You just have to look at the calendar scheduling piece inside Kartra, and like I said, I wouldn't block out like 4 days ahead. I wouldn't put a 4-day buffer. I would put just no bookings,
not the same
day.
Okay.
That way they can book for the following day. And then like if you're at a live event, let's say you're at a live event on the 15th and you don't want to take anybody for 4 days after, just go block those dates out so nobody can schedule on those dates.
So instead of saying 4 days out, just block the 4 days.
Correct.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way they're not 4 days all the time. It's just after those particular events.
Yeah, I think what it was doing, it was reading something on my calendar, and let's just say I have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday available, and if I was busy they called or tried to book for Thursday, it would be blocked, so it would go forward to the following. Technically, it should have gone to the next Monday, but it was counting 4, and if I was busy, then it was counting another 4. So
is this a Google Calendar?
So I had that condition set up in Kartra.
Okay, but is it connected to your Google Calendar to sync?
Yes.
So on your Google Calendar, if you don't set specific time ranges on there, it might think the whole day is blocked. Like I know there's been a lot of times where I'll schedule something and I'll forget to set a time and it blocks the whole day. So
I think that's what it's doing. So how do I fix that?
It might be confused there. So in Google, you just have to make sure you go in and set times. Like if your appointment is from 10 to 11, then you set the time from 10 to 11, not the whole day.
Wouldn't Kartra know that that time is blocked though?
Kartra only knows what you set up in its calendar range and then what it syncs to Google. But if Google is saying the day is blocked, then it's blocked.
Right, but if the time I want somebody to book that time, so Kartra is looking at my Google Calendar to see if I'm available, and then we'll make it available and block it or temporarily block it until I approve it. Correct?
If it's available, but if you have something that you've booked in your Google Calendar and there's no time set, Google Calendar is saying this is for the whole day. So when Kartra looks, it says there's nothing available because the whole day is booked. So you have to make sure you look at your Google Calendar and make sure there's open times. If you've got something that's just blocking the whole day, then that whole day is shot as far as Kartra is concerned.
Yeah, but if that time, and so what was happening is my time was open, but it was showing that it was blocked. And so when I took off the 4-day block, the 4-day condition, and just said don't book on the same day that I speak, that seemed to fix it. And if that's the fix, that's the fix.
Yeah, so just block the days you don't want to have scheduled and you should be set.
Okay, that makes sense.
That should do the trick. So.
Hey, John, I got one really quick question for you. I know we all got to get going here, though.
Okay.
For the SitePop beta users for the new Amazon and all the awesome Amazon, YouTube, Bing, and YouTube modules.
Mm-hmm.
Is the app updated yet so that you can use phones for you can use one pair of phones for multiple credits?
We don't have them updated to the point where they're available yet. Our programmers still have them in the testing mode. They're still ironing out the known bugs. Once they get it to the point where they're like, okay, it looks good to us, then we're going to release it to the beta testers and let you guys find the rest of the bugs for us.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. I just wanted to.
There are still a few that are known and they're working through them, but I was really expecting it this week. So I think we're still on schedule. So hopefully we'll get that out to you at the beginning of the week.
Awesome. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much. It's so far incredible. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, cool. All right, guys. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Does anybody else have anything before we cut out today? All right. Well, you guys have a great week. And again, appreciate y'all on here asking your questions. It's good for everybody. So we will.
Thanks, John.
We'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.